I'm Sahra Esmonde-White, and as part of our Essentrics AM/PM program, I'm sharing with you my favorite go-to breakfast. It is the most energizing breakfast. I have it 2 to 3 times a week, my favorite. It is based on a recipe by Oats called apple pie oatmeal. And I'm making it today in the Essentrics kitchen for Miranda and Gail, who are actually working here today. So the ingredients that we'll start with that you're going to need: chia seeds, regular oats, ginger powder, cinnamon, and an apple. I like to use Macintosh apples because I like apples that soften a lot, but some people like to have their apples more crisp. So use the type of apple that you like the most. If you like it softer, I suggest Macintosh. If not, any kind of apple will do. We'll start with the apple. So we're going to start by just peeling your apple. And this recipe, when you look at the actual recipe, it looks really daunting because there are a lot of ingredients, and you think for breakfast, this seems to be a lot, but it's kind of like smoothies. When you first saw smoothies, you thought that a lot of ingredients were gonna take you too long to make, but then we get so used to it. And this recipe takes me 5 minutes to whip up in the morning, but it really sustains me for the day. One of the things I love the most about it is that it has the cinnamon and the ginger, which are really anti-inflammatory. This breakfast is delicious and energizing and anti-inflammatory, so it's really one of the best things ever. I mean, there's nothing missing out of this breakfast. Sometimes I even have it for dinner when I'm lazy to cook. Quick cutting up of the apple, remove the core, and then do a really coarse chop. So really, this is not fancy. I like to cook fancy meals, and I love to chop really finely, beautiful, little fine chopped meals. It's one of my favorite things. My mom and I joke about our different cooking styles because she'll really chop coarsely and I like to chop things finely. But for this breakfast, it's really fast chop. I usually use 1 apple, but sometimes I'll put 2. And since it's my mom and Gail, I'm putting 2 apples in here. But I'm still keeping the same amount of oats. So the amount of oats you need for this, 1/3 of a cup. It's so simple and so fast. 1/3 of a cup of oats, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, and then come the ginger and cinnamon. This is my favorite part. The ginger part is where you get that real heat and that real kick. So you might want to start off slowly, especially if you have a very strong ginger. I like that little heat and that kick, and I don't mind having some spice, so I put more. I would say start with, Oats says 1/4 teaspoon, but I put probably a full teaspoon into mine. So I'm gonna do that now. I don't even use my measuring spoons anymore because I know, and that's what will happen to you. So I'm just gonna pour another minimum teaspoon of cinnamon. That is basically it. See how fast that was? Stir it up. And I really like to stir this before I add the milk, because sometimes my chia seeds get clumpy, so it's better to stir it up so that the chia moves around. And then you'll add 1 cup of milk, dairy, non-dairy, it doesn't really matter. I actually often put 1/2 cup water, 1/2 cup of milk, but today I'm gonna do special for my mom, a full cup of milk. Here it is, very easy, and stir it up. And this is very quick to cook. That's another thing that's great about it. It seems complex, but very easy to cook on full heat. Bring it right to a boil, and then you lower the heat so that it's just quite simmering. I like my milk to be evaporated, but some people like oatmeal that's very runny. Some people like their apples that are harder, crunchier. And so basically you just have to keep an eye on it and stop it when you're ready for it. I like it evaporated, and I like my apples to be soft. So it takes a little bit longer for me. In the meantime, you can clean up, or you can also do some Essentrics. The apple pie oatmeal has been simmering for about 5 minutes, but you'll probably want to keep an eye on it for maybe 5 to 8 minutes, and keep stirring it continuously, because I have made the mistake of walking away and over browning my pan. I don't want to say that I've burnt it, but I've come pretty close to burning it. So I would say keep an eye on it, but the time is usually about closer to the 7-minute mark. So now, I often, if I'm trying to make it look pretty, which I didn't really do properly for my mom and Gail today, but when I am, what I do is chop pistachios and put them on top, and it's so delicious with the pistachios. If you're serving this in a brunch and want to have it look prettier, a little chopped pistachio on top is really, really nice and delicious too. And then again, so healthy. But I will add a little bit of milk on top, and I'm giving them a nice small portion because it is very hearty. And I hope they like it as much as I do, and I hope that you try this recipe, and I'm sure you're gonna love it too.